Assalamu alaikum everyone. It's me Samia Saleem. I'm doing MS from UMT Sialkot. Today I am giving my presentation to Dr. Hammad. My presentation topic is food preservation and processing methods. So, first of all, we will start from why you need to process and preserve foods. So, here we go. The main aim of food preservation is to minimize the growth of microorganisms during the storage period, thus promoting longer shelf life and reduce hazard from eating the food. Food preservation is essential because it extends length of time during which the food is nutritionally valuable and safe to eat. Most fresh fruits, vegetables, and animal products spoil quickly without refrigerator, dehydration, or preservation. Most popular and effective preserving technique employs salt, sugar, vinegar, or brine. Most bacterial and fungal spores cannot live without oxygen and do not survive prolonged immersion in boiling water. A notable exception is the bacterium Clostridium botulinum, which causes a dangerous and potentially fatal disease called botulism. Clostridium botulinum is usually hardy and thrives in anoxic environments. Oxygen is toxic to it. It also survives boiling temperature that kill most other bacteria. However, it cannot survive acidic environments such as pickle brine. Preservation of food by any method is based on the following principles: prevention or delay of microbial decomposition. The first principle is based on by keeping out microorganisms. Nature provides protective coverings around the food in the form of shell of nuts, dye, skins of fruits and vegetables, the shells of eggs, the skin or fat or meat or fish. These protective coverings act as a preservative factor, thereby preventing a delaying decomposition. Even in the food industry, several aseptic methods are adopted to prevent the contamination of food during its processing. The second is by removal of microorganisms. Filtration is a method used for the complete removal of microorganisms and is successfully applied only to clear liquids such as water, fruit juices, beer, soft drinks, and wine. The third one is by hindering the growth and activity of microorganisms. This may be done by low temperature or drying or by providing anaerobic conditions. When anaerobic conditions are created, some aerobic organisms die while the spores of others may survive but are unable to multiply in the absence of oxygen. Low temperature at which food are preserved in cold storage slows down and sometimes prevents bacterial activity. Dyeing of food is a very effective method of avoiding spoilage of food since microorganisms and cannot flourish in the absence of moisturizer. Certain chemicals like sodium benzoate, potassium metabisulfate may be used for preservation, but they are should be used with great care as an excess of any them may result in poisoning. Then there are methods of fruit preservation. The first one is the food can be preserved by the following methods. The first one is the canning or bottling. The second one is the salting or sugaring. The third one is the drying, and the fourth one is the fermentation, and the fifth one is the cooling and freezing. So what does canning do? Canning or bottling. Canning basics for preserving food. Canning is an important safe method for preserving food if uh, practiced properly. The canning process involves placing foods in jars or similar containers and heating them to a temperature that destroys microorganisms that cause food to spoil. During this heating process, air is driven out of the jar, and as it cools, a vacuum seal is formed. Then it is safe canning methods. There are two safe canning methods. The first one is the boiling water bath method, and the second one is the pressure canner method. So the boiling water bath method is safe for tomatoes, fruits, jams, jellies, pickles, and other preservers. In this method, jars of food are heated, completely covered with boiling water, and cooked for a specified amount of time. Pressure canning is the only safe method of preserving vegetables, meats, poultry, and seafood. Jars of food are placed in 2 to 3 inches of water in a special pressure cooker, which is heated to a temperature of at least 240 degree. This temperature can only be reached using the pressure method. The second one is the salting or sugar. Salting preserves food by removing the moisturizer and creating an environment unsuitable for microbial growth. Very few bacteria grow in high salt solutions, so simply adding a very high amount of salt can be an effective method of preservation. Then it is fermentation. A risk in sugaring is that sugar itself attracts moisturizer. Once a sufficient moisturizer level is reached, native yeast in the environment will come out of dormancy and begin to ferment the sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. This leads to the process of fermentation. Although fermentation can be used as food preservation method, it must be intentionally controlled or the results will tend to be unpleasant. The third one is the drying. Food drying is one of the oldest methods of preserving food for later use. It can either be an alternative to canning or freezing or complement these methods. Drying food is simple, safe, and easy to learn. With modern food dehydrators, fruit leathers, banana chips, and beef jerky can all be dried year round at home. Then it is cooling and freezing. Chilling and freezing. Bacteria and yeast grow best at specific temperature, usually between 40 to 140 degrees Celsius. By lowering the temperature below 40, their metabolic and reproductive action is significantly slowed. While this may not actually kill the bacteria and yeast, it does slow the spoilage process. So, any questions related to this? And thank you, all of you. Have a nice day.